don't we start with one team? So who wants to go first?
It's okay. We can go first, or Dimple's team one can go.
Okay.
Okay, so let's have somebody else present it this time, Paurangi. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
If you guys have somebody else from your team can take the lead on that. All right.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
I can.
Same with the other team as well. Yep.
I can. Shall I?
Yeah. So
Is it
Ophelia,
okay,
why don't
Paurangi?
you why don't you share your screen and then let's walk through it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So I am doing the receiving page. I'm testing the cancel button.
Okay. Can
So,
can we start with the one where there is a functionality?
do you need the page?
Yeah. So the cancel it's going to be a lot more simpler. I want to see what was more challenging test case you had.
So I'll get the other one. Add new image.
Okay.
So I'm doing in the cartridge detail page.
Okay.
So in that I'm checking the add new image button.
Okay.
So the project name is web-based automation. Is it correct? Yeah. So the test title is add new image. Precondition super user already exists.
So hang on to there, right?
So, yeah.
So when you say super user already exists,
Yeah.
have you read it anywhere in the requirement saying that, hey, there is going to be a super user in the system?
So what do you mean by?
So you understand, right? So
Yeah, super
the
user
whole
because
responsibility, so
yeah,
the whole security in this particular application is a little bit different than the way that we had it in our flow.
Yeah.
So there is no such thing as super user here, right? So what kind of people or what kind of things?
different roles there. So each and every role there should be username and password, isn't it?
No, so it's a functional based privileges, right?
Okay.
So did anybody else understood how the security model was defined for this particular application?
I think we discussed last time, I think Thursday as well, went over security side of things and how the users and roles are configured in the system as well. Hopefully everybody should have understanding of that.
Yeah, it was said that the super user already exists,
Yeah, so what Dilip is trying to say is there is no super user type of role here.
Okay,
because you can create your own
it
roles
should, it should be administrator or subscriber.
No. So you have to think about it is who all can essentially interact or add a cartridges, right? It's only those role with that functionality is there. It could be anybody. It doesn't have, there is no such concept as a super user in this particular security model.
Okay.
Okay. So I think it's you need to understand it, what the security model is. So that's one thing that you need to understand for the precondition. Okay. Let's continue with that because I think what I would like you and your team to go back and think about it is in terms of who all is going to be able to perform what kind of functions.
Okay.
Okay. So let's continue with that.
So page is ready to add new image. So in the browser, I entered the URL and the home page for the Intellect software is displayed and select admin tab. and it's selected, and I enter user ID and password. The cartridge.
Okay, is there an admin tab? So you had a whole bunch of screenshots,
Yeah.
right? Go back to screenshot and show me where is the admin tab.
Let me ask you one more thing. Have you guys reviewed this as a team? I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you guys discuss, I mean, whether the correctness of this thing? Paurangi, I mean, Vaibhavi, I mean, you guys have looked at it, right?
Yeah. So Harshal,
Yes.
for the roles, as we discussed in the Thursday's class, like
Okay.
as you told us that we can create some user and assign some roles, right?
Yeah, it's on the fly. You can create it, or basically before the test, you can create your own roles and users. Yes.
Yeah. So instead of super user, we can just write, yeah, like user already exists in the system, like
Right.
just
Right. Who has that access to that module? Yes, that user. But I'm wondering about the homepage for the Intellect software here. She mentioned. I mean, I'm not sure whether you guys had a chance to review this particular test case. And did you
Yeah.
guys discuss, I mean, the correctness?
So we were confused about two things, like is it like website, like where we can just enter
Okay.
the URL and the homepage will be displayed, and then for the particular model like admin page,
Okay.
we have to log in for
So-
that, because
So let's go. Let's look at the screen, right? So you have a screen for this particular thing for which you wrote the test case, right? Let's go back to that screen.
Okay.
So Ophelia, if you can just share that PDF with that screen.
Yeah.
Let's look at it. Because I want you guys to first think about a logical steps, even before writing it. That's where you should focus.
This is the screen.
Okay, so you click on admin tab. Okay, how
Yeah.
do you know that it's always going to be a cartridge? So flip it back to now your Word document.
Okay.
You can share both your entire screen and Ophelia, then you should be able to go back and forth between the two apps.
Okay.
Yeah, so click on that. Okay. Now, when you click on admin tab, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So look at it where you are, like it's entering it. So do you think the sequence is right?
So yeah, the security purpose, so all can, otherwise all can access, right?
No, so think of this way, right? You're going it to the home page, which
Yeah.
is your step one.
Yeah.
Then you're selecting an admin tab,
Yeah.
and then you're entering your credentials.
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
That's how.
Can you access the
It's
functionality of system before logging in?
So to get that page, you mean that we don't know where this page is, right? Which under which tab?
No, so the question
The
is,
question.
should your step 2 and step 3 should be flipped?
No need. Select admin tab and enter user ID and password, isn't it?
So you're saying is that the user ID and password is prompted after I click on the admin tab.
Yeah.
Think about it, right? How
Yeah.
do I know I have access to the admin tab or not before I log in?
Yeah.
So I think it's you guys need to think through the flow of your steps. Okay.
Okay.
And then how did you reach it directly to the cartridge detail page from login? There is no clarity around it. So read your instructions on step 3, which says that, hey, I just entered a user ID and a password. And the expected result is I'm already on the cartridge detail page. Right? There is no data, like it's what cartridge detail page, where I'm adding an image, to which cartridge. So you have to think through the whole scenario. Think about it. If you are giving this particular steps to somebody else, can they execute it without asking you tons of questions?
Mhm.
Okay. So when you guys reviewed it, this is what I expected, is just say, hey, let's talk through it. Can we get through this one? Because at this point, I don't even know where you're adding an image.
Mhm.
Don't know which cartridge detail you're pulling it up.
So,
Okay.
Um,
Let's look at the other test case, because I think it's, you need to think logically sequence, right? So most likely you log into the system, then you go try to perform certain function, like it's, then you click admin tab, right? And then most likely there's going to be, hey, as part of administrative work, remember there's a tons of other tasks you can do it. So you have to select the task that, hey, I want to update a cartridge detail. Then you have to select which cartridge that you want to update the detail. Are you creating a new cartridge and then adding an image? Or you're pulling an existing cartridge and then adding an image?
okay.
You see things that you're missing here?
Yeah.
So I think you
Um,
need to rework on this test case.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Let's look at one more test cases from your group.
Anybody else wants to present that test case? Vaibhavi, if you have it. I mean, Shruti, I'm not sure whether you have it as well.
I can share.
Okay.
Okay. Look a
Okay,
little
can
bit.
you
Yeah,
see?
okay, I can see your screen. Let's go through it.
Okay, I have two test cases. So first one is I just select 6.5 vendor lookup field button. So do you want me to show that first?
Yeah,
The
let's
second is the filter.
quickly see the screen
Okay,
and talk through what you're trying to do it so that we have a better context.
okay. So I'm here validating lookup button that
Yeah,
shows.
I think it's Vaibhavi, you're just only sharing your word. You probably have to share the screen and then you can share the PDF.
Sorry, you mean the document page?
Yeah,
Okay, just one moment. I'm sorry, I need to find out. Can you see that?
I think you need to share that. So if you stop sharing and select the first one that pops up, like a screen, if you stop sharing and then click on share again and select the top left corner one, then we can see, you should be able to flip through the screen afterwards without anything else.
Is it okay now?
yeah, now we can see it. Okay,
Now we can see both.
so now let's go to the screen for which you're writing this test case.
So I'm talking this one.
Okay.
Okay, so you're on the receiving function and
Mhm,
you're clicking the 3 dots and validating to see if the list
mhm.
gets populated properly.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay, so
So let's look at the precondition and everything first. Okay. All right. Okay.
so I'm as a precondition, I'm assuming that user already have access to login the application and the home page is already set up.
Okay.
Is it
Okay.
correct?
So when you say home page is set up, what do you mean by that?
So we here like as a team we were just discussing about like it's not same as the last project we had, so we don't know like how to open the home page, or we don't have any URL provided or anything like that. So we just assume that home page anybody can just come in. Let's assume like we open the home page and then we
Mhm.
have to log in and then we will go to the application. That's what we assume and we follow the steps here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the same comment that I gave it to Ophelia
Mhm.
also on that,
Yeah.
right? So is it sufficient to just say, hey, user have a login access to the application? Because remember, this is a functional based security. So you need to make sure whatever user you're picking it up, they have ability to work on that function. So this is a receiving function. So one of the part of the precondition you need to do it is that whichever user you're selecting and making sure that they have access to the receiving function and they have the privilege to perform the operation that you're trying to talk through.
Okay.
So along with the login,
Mhm.
login is set up, right? So that's the first precondition. And second is they have access to receiving. That's what Dilip is trying to say, because the security is configurable. So it's not a fixed role or anything. So you can, as long as you can just mention that they have access to receiving module,
Mhm.
that should be good enough along with the login.
Okay. Yeah. I can change that.
Okay.
Now let's look through the steps.
Yeah. So I think again, I need to change here as per you said, but I just mentioned as I explained before that
Okay.
I'm entering into the browser and homepage opens. That's what I'm assuming.
Sure.
And then I'm entering username and password. So that's how I get the admin page, which is
Okay.
this one
Mhm.
first. And then in this case, as per like we also discussed, before I testing this button, I need to enter somehow any data of the vendor and customer names. So that's what I mentioned here in the step. I'm entering, like click on the page of the customer vendor list, which is F09, which is on this page number 66.
So you can just mention receiving, right? Because that's
Mhm.
what you are clicking to access, right? Receiving, access receiving function, or click on receiving tab. That's the way you can write it. That
Yeah, but I think in step 3, you are trying to add a new customer in the system. Is that right?
Yeah, so here I
okay.
like I have mentioned that I'm entering first, I'm entering the entries of the customer names, and
Okay.
then I'm testing this button. That's
Oh, I
what-
see. I see. So you
Yeah.
are you logged into the application. Now you will enter the vendor. Okay, so
Right.
customer vendor list module.
Mhm.
You are saying not okay. Customer vendor list module where you can go
Yeah.
and enter new customer or vendor.
Okay.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you mean. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
So that's how I'm
Okay.
entering the
So
name.
a couple of
Mhm.
things, right? So when you're going in there, and you're like it's doing it in step 3,
Mhm.
you can't be generic, like, hey, add a new record in customer and vendor. You have to be specific. Are you adding a vendor or are you adding a customer?
Okay.
You
Okay.
cannot
Whatever
just say,
data,
hey,
yeah.
go ahead and add the customer or vendor. You have to provide a detailed step-by-step information of how do I do that too.
Okay. Yeah.
And the results would be is not shows a list of vendors or customer, right? It should be
Mm.
how it should be validated that, hey, I was able to successfully add that customer.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That's
So
true.
that's one way you can do it. The other way you
Mhm.
can do it is you can put into precondition that, hey, here are the 3 vendors and 2 customers which are present in the system. Because part of things you also want to make sure here, since it's a vendor and customer, both are showed up,
Mhm.
then you need to make sure that you can't just simply add only a vendor and then call it a day and says it's going to go there. You have to do both. You have to add a vendor and you have to add a customer, and then you have to see it that both are being visible.
Okay.
Okay, or put those in a precondition. Okay, now let's go
Sure.
to step 4. Then you're going to the receiving page.
Yeah, which is this one.
Okay,
And
then
then I'm testing this 3, but so I'm clicking on the 3 dots, and it shows whatever I entered before. It's supposed to show on this list.
okay,
So
so there are a
what?
couple of things, right? So if you're taking this path, one of the things you need to make sure that in precondition, you have to say that there is no vendor or customer exist. Because the way that you put the expected result here, it shows all enter vendor and customer name, right? So you're referring back to your step 3, saying that, hey, when I do 3 dots, only the one that I entered shows up. Now that assumes that you didn't have any in the system to begin with it. If there were already a vendor and customer in the system, then it will show those plus what you added.
Okay.
You see where I'm going?
Yes, I got it. Yeah.
Either be very clear in terms of
Mhm.
the precondition that you want to talk about it,
Mhm.
or put those lists as part of your precondition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I understood. So same way here, like I'm mentioning, like I'm particularly selecting any, let's say, one name. So
So
that's how I'm.
you have to be that specific, right? What you're doing is generic. Hey, click on any one of those, right? What think of it like it's, if I click on any one of those, right? I need to validate that it's the one that I clicked it is or the shows up, right? So the better way is to identify the specific one which you want them to click on it, and then validate that's the one that gets populated.
Okay. Yeah.
So just, you're on the right track, but you just need to provide additional detail and enough information for somebody to follow it.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm just wondering about the step 8, right? Because it has nothing to do with your logging out. I mean, it's not going to add any value if you write the step, because your test case should end as long as it shows up correctly as part of the vendor customer list, right? Because that's what you verify, and then you are done with your test case.
Okay.
Yeah. So number 8 is kind of like a. I'm not sure. I don't think you will need it. So you
Now,
stop at
Okay.
number 7.
Scroll it down. What is the post condition that you have said?
Okay. So the post condition is.
Pass the test.
Sorry
Okay.
for disturbance.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, go ahead.
So the post condition, I just assume it is a positive test case. So I would say that the button passed the test.
Okay,
Is it
so
correct?
so the post condition is the state of the system, not whether you pass the test case or not, right? So in this scenario, since you added something new, your post condition should be is that the vendor and customer that were added is now present in the system, right? Because that's the change happened to the system. So post condition typically talks about what has happened, what changes occurred in the system.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So logically, you have it. Just a clarity, as Dilip said, and I think that should take care of it. Okay.
Okay.
But logically, you should have we can see it. Yep.
Can I show you my another one, which is I did filter button.
Okay.
So I'm kind of, yeah, I need have some question as well here. So, sorry, just a moment. I think it was page 90, I guess.
So the fastest way is you see there is a box on the top left on the PDF where there's 36 of 161. Just enter
sorry.
90 there. It'll take you right there.
Okay, so I'm just doing the test for this filter button here.
Okay, so this is a
So-
cartridge list and you're trying to filter.
Yeah.
Can you do a favor? Can you just scroll it down into the business rules and events to see what formula it is going to use the filter on?
It's the manufacturer or but there are two
Okay,
conditions.
so
Yep.
it's like for both, either
Yep.
manufacturer and there. Okay, all right. So let's go through the test case now.
Okay, so all right. So as per I understand, I'm testing here like whatever information I am putting in a here,
Mhm.
it's supposed to shows here, right? That's what I'm testing. So I have a question. Like I have to
Should be either one, right? So it could be either manufacturer or could be the manufacturing number.
So I think we
I-
discussed
I-
last time, it's a or condition that you need to look for. Look into the manufacturer or the manufacturer number field.
Okay, so so if I'm writing the test case, I have to do like separate test case for each of this column.
So we discussed there are three leaps, I
Mhm.
think, right? Last Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about how you can test this. I think Paurangi, you had the leaps. Not sure whether you had a chance to share with the team.
No,
Um,
we did share
We
that.
discussed that,
We
and
did.
I told her that we have to just do for manufacturer. Then in that we have to do like with some string, we have to do it like with a
Manufacturer
manufacturer.
only,
then-
manufacturer
yeah.
number only, or combination.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, we discussed that on Thursday too.
Okay,
Okay.
so which leaf you're doing? You're doing manufacturer leaf only?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
before I was confused, but now I clarify with my team.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
Okay, let's look at the test case.
so I think I need to change this also as per the last test case I show you. Which
Okay.
is the-
So you want to
So-
correct it?
Yeah, so as per like I'm entering the manufacturer name on this
Okay.
here, it
Mhm.
should show me so first like I'm just taking as a full string, so I'm entering the full name. That's what I'm assume here.
No,
Okay.
so
So-
Vaibhavi, do you have a test case written for this?
That's what right now I brought it. I was confused a little bit, so I think I might need to do some correction here.
Yeah, we'll work with the team, Vaibhavi. Okay,
Yeah.
and that would be the second part. So you guys need to pick one as part of this process, right? And we will
Okay.
ask you pick two and work as a team to come up with that. Okay, so you can pick this one if you want at that point and flush it out. Because
Okay,
after
sure.
our review, we would like you guys to write additional 2 test cases as a team. And that should be a lot better because now we have discussed what you need to correct and so forth. So hopefully you guys can write a little bit more detailed test case afterwards. So you can pick this one at that point. Okay, so come back with that. And meanwhile, we can review other ones that other
Okay,
folks
sure.
have written.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
So now let's switch to the second team.
Okay.
And look at their test cases. Okay, so who from the second team wants to present first?
I like somebody else to present, Dimple. Okay, so I know you have some test cases as well, but we will review that. But let's see if anybody else wants to review first.
I can share.
Okay, go ahead, Leela.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you have the home pages, homepage one. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Leela, as you go, it's tell us also in the PDF which specific case or the test scenario that you're looking for.
So can you see my screen?
Homepage
So
news
you're
list, yeah, we can see it.
doing a news items. Okay, which specific scenario you're talking on this screen?
The home page display. So this is my first test case.
No, but what
We can see
exactly
it, yeah.
function you're testing it?
It's
Understand?
the home page, like display comes under the news, what's new, and the history page.
Okay.
So
So we are seeing here, okay. So
We
you are
want-
testing the actual homepage functionality, right?
yes,
So, but so you are saying the whatever information displayed on the homepage is correct. That's what you are testing.
yeah. So
What's the section as well as?
where we enter the message that appears in the home page.
Okay.
So this is precondition, admin login.
We can't see that particular page. Looks like you only are showing the laser saver. We can see only laser saver.
I think you close the other tab.
Oh, can you see now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, the precondition is admin login exist. You want me to,
Yeah, what you can do is, yep,
Yeah,
expand, yep,
do that so we
There-
can
there-
see
there you
both
go.
expected results and
Yep.
action. Okay,
there you go.
now
Yeah.
let's walk through it.
so precondition admin login exists. And open the browser, enter the URL.
Again,
Okay.
I think this is a pattern that I'm seeing in everybody, right? You all are like, it's assuming everything as an administrator login. Remember, this one doesn't have an admin aspect.
Because
Uh,
in that page, there is an admin tab that you can click.
Right, but I think it's the login that you're talking about is a user login. There is no administrator login,
Okay,
right? So when user go, there are some admin pages where they can do some administration of the data.
okay. So we don't have to log in as an admin.
No, you just log in as a user
User.
and you just need to make sure that user have that access to that functionality that you're trying to access it.
Okay,
So you need to just change the wording on your precondition. Your thought process seems okay, but as Dilip said, you just need to mention the user is logged in and has access to this news administration
Functionality.
functionality. Yeah,
oh,
that's all.
okay, okay.
Yep. Okay.
So then I have to correct this login as admin and click,
Precisely, yeah.
Yep.
okay.
Okay.
So
Alright.
here just the click on admin.
Tab. Yep, that's correct.
Okay, admin homepage displays. Then
Select homepage news list page. Okay.
and click on add new item.
Okay.
It navigates to the new detail page,
Mhm.
Okay.
and there enter data in the title box. I'm entering maintenance,
Okay.
and the data appears in the title box.
Okay.
Then enter data in the text box. I'm entering system will be down on Sunday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay.
That shows up in the text box.
Okay.
And check active box,
Okay.
and green check mark appears, and uncheck historical archive box,
Okay.
and it is unchecked. Click save button,
Okay.
and I think I don't need log out as admin here, right?
Yeah, you can just go to the
Go to the
home
home
page.
page.
Yep, that
Yeah.
should take care of it. Yep.
Click on home button, home page displays the message
Okay.
under what's new,
Okay.
and click on history button, and this is not displayed because the box is unchecked.
Okay.
And post condition, when active box is checked and historical archive box is not checked, the home page screen shows the news and the not in the history page.
Again, I think it's same comment for the post condition that I mentioned it to Vaibhavi, right? So the post condition should be is what change in the system.
Okay.
Right, not description like this, right? So in this scenario, right, the post condition is that you have that news added into the active homepage.
Oh,
That's
okay.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, the only other thing is like, as Harshal mentioned, you should take out the step 12,
The log out as
log
admin.
out
Yep.
button, right? Now, if
Okay.
you're testing it that, hey, I added and all the other users can see it,
Mhm.
then you want to put a log out and then you want to put it login as another user. You still have to log in, right? Because you can't, without login, you can't see those news and things on the homepage.
Right.
So make sure you reflect that, but you are on the right track. It's just that couple of minor things is missing. That's it.
Okay. So here I can say like log out as user, or
Yeah. So again, depends on what is the intention, right?
Mhm.
So if I don't make any changes the way that you have written it, right?
Yeah.
When you say it's, hey, log it out, and then you're clicking on the home button and seeing it, what that indicates that anybody can access those news information without logging into the system,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So you want to be mindful that, hey, there are information that you can see only when you log in. So you have to log in as some users,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
And the most effective way is if you take out the step 12, everything else works fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this one, Leela, I think as Dilip said, I mean, this is you are almost there. I would say 90%. You have it correctly written down.
Okay.
Just a 10% those user correction and so forth. But
Okay.
otherwise, I mean, I see it as a complete test case. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Does everybody else understand? Because I want you other folks to understand as well the thought process here and the way she has laid out, right? I mean, you can write it differently. Obviously, Leela, I mean, instead of putting the steps for each box or data entry step, you can have it like a one step, enter data as mentioned in the whatever in the file, and you can write down all the fields in Excel file and so forth, instead of creating the separate steps. If somebody else wants to write that way, which is okay as well. Okay.
Okay.
But the way you have it, I think is perfectly fine.
Okay.
Now, can we see one more test case from somebody else in your team?
Sure.
Okay, stop sharing.
Yeah. So go ahead, Gifty, if you are going to share it.
Okay. Okay, I'm doing this lookup field for the customer and vendor on the cartridge inventory page.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
So let me ask you one thing, Gifty. Do you feel it is similar to what we talked about the other customer vendor test case earlier.
In the receiving, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Then can
Mhm.
we look at some other test case? Because I want to make sure we get the different one, because all the changes that we suggested it in the receiving space, it's also applicable, right?
Mhm.
You may already have taken care of some of them, but let's talk about one of the new functionality. Anything else that you may have it?
No, that's all I have.
You had
Okay.
only that one test case. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else in your team? Anything else has different thing? Tayyab or Dimple?
Yeah, so I did it for weight field. I'm checking the functionality of weight field.
Okay.
Okay, let's look at that.
So I'm like for the weight field, we have two scenarios. One when it will turn green and when it will turn red. So I'm doing it for the red one. Like when the weight is out of tolerance, this field will turn red and it's eligible for the warranty.
Okay.
So here my title is validate weight field turns red and cartridge is eligible for the warranty when the weight is out of tolerance. And in the precondition, I have mentioned the cartridge information is added into the system. Like we have cartridge inventory page. So the cartridge for which I'm testing, its information is already there in the system.
Okay. So
And
what you're saying is,
Putting the formula.
Yes.
Is that what you're trying to do it here? But I think, yeah, I want you to think about holistically. What should already be present in the system before you do it? So switch back for a moment to the PDF.
Okay. So what
Right.
I'm trying to say.
So go a little bit up. Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, think of this way.
Mhm.
When do you execute? Is this the first thing? As soon as I get the cartridge, is this the thing gets executed?
No, first first I will complete this detail.
Right. But again, whenever you do a test case or test setup, right, you
Mhm.
just don't go directly to just that field that you're trying to look through it, right?
Yes.
You have to set it up.
Yes.
So what I'm asking is, at what point you are executing these steps? Did you already receive the cartridge and you put it into the system?
Yes.
Or now you are putting it into the system for the first time?
I'm not putting into the system. Like I'm already putting this in the precondition that the cartridge is already there in the system.
So help me understand, when they are in the system
Okay.
and you come into this page,
Mhm.
are you pulling it up?
Yes.
How are you? Okay.
Yeah. So basically, so here we have this page, cartridge detail page.
okay.
Page
So what you're
93.
trying to say is, Dimple, if I understand correctly, the cartridge, empty weight, full weight, those things is already set up.
Yes, it's manufacturer
And then you are
number.
processing the similar type of cartridge or same type
Yes.
of cartridge through
Yes.
the inventory shipping page. Okay.
Yes.
I
Yes.
see. I see. Okay. So I think the wording is kind of like a little bit different.
Okay.
I think you just need to say is cartridge already exist, cartridge type, because you have a cartridge. If you flip back to the screen, we can just take a look at that.
Yeah.
So you want me to go to this page?
Yeah, inventory
Yeah.
page. Yep. Inventory page. Yep.
Okay. So think of this way, right?
Mhm.
All you're putting in a precondition is the type of the cartridge, and you have to be very specific which type of the cartridge that you want it, right?
Okay.
That information is present in the system, which talks about what is the minimum weight, maximum weight, and the
Mhm.
tolerance level permitted.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So that's what should be on your precondition, not
Yes.
the inventory, because you use the word inventory and that essentially throws off everything.
I'm
right?
sorry, I'm not clear. But like you're
So
saying,
when you say cartridge information is added in the system,
okay,
what you want to do it is cartridge, this
So I-
particular type's cartridge's information
okay,
is present as part of the cartridge's detail into the system. So the
Okay.
metadata, and I'm going to try to process a cartridge of the type which is already in the system.
okay,
Okay, so just it's a wording clarity as Harshal mentioned.
okay, okay.
So now let's do the
So
second step.
yeah. So from there, I'm taking this empty weight is 80, full weight is 135.
Yeah, right. So you don't have to specify that, right? All you have to
Okay.
do it is specify is that all this particular types of cartridge information is present in the system.
Okay.
And then when you
I'm-
start talking about steps, you can just say, hey, I'm pulling. So for example, right?
Okay.
So you can just say, hey, it's a black cartridge 131X 4 HP is
Mhm.
what I'm going to process.
Okay.
So your
Okay.
precondition is the information about 131X type of cartridges is
Mhm.
present in the system with information about how much is full weight, empty weight, and a tolerance percentage. That's
Okay.
it.
Okay.
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 So once you provide that clarity, now I exactly know, hey, because you have to think about, is the precondition true or not in the system? The way you
Mhm.
put it is way generic,
Okay.
right? So I don't know whether it's present in the system. So you have to be specific about it.
Okay.
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 So
And the
we'll-
second precondition is a user account is set up who has access to the inventory module.
Okay, that's second condition. Okay, go ahead.
So my first step is open the browser and enter URL. The home page will display.
Mhm.
Next, log in as an inventory user with user ID and password.
Okay.
I forget to mention password here.
Okay,
That's fine.
That's okay.
Yeah. Then click on the inventory button or inventory tab. Then inventory page is open.
Okay.
And then enter the weight of the cartridge manually, which
Okay,
is
so
85.
here it is the issue, right?
Mhm.
You're focusing on entering only data for that particular field. So if you go back to the screen, let's quickly for a moment go back to screen. Okay, don't you have to specify the manufacturer number,
Okay.
my car,
Manufacturer.
all
all
those
those things.
information you have to specify before you can actually enter the weight.
Yeah. Then
Because
then
without
this-
that, I don't know what weight I should be validating it against, right?
Yes. Yes. Because once I will enter that, then the empty and full weight will automatically appear here.
Right. So
Okay.
make sure your steps reflect that
Okay.
you have to provide all those detail.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go. Once you correct that, right? So let's
Yeah.
see the step number 6.
Then I'm validating this entered value 85 with the formula.
Okay. So number 6,
Mhm.
that should, all you should be is entering the weight, and the expected result is whether the screen turns out red or not, right?
Yes. Yes.
The expected result is not that I enter it manually. So
Okay.
the step 6 that you wrote it is actually the expected results for
Okay.
step 5,
Okay.
right? And you don't have to write this condition, validate if it's out of the tolerance, right?
Okay.
All you should do it is, what is the expected result? Am I expected to see turn it red?
Mhm.
Yes or no? Simple, right? And if it doesn't turn red, then my test case fails.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So I don't have to give the clarity. The entered value is 85 and the calculated is 88.
No,
So that's why.
Because that's expected, right? That is what
Okay.
you're looking forward, because you're saying that given all the parameters already present in the system, all I have to enter is the weight, and it should tell me whether it's a red or green.
Yes. So,
Okay.
okay, there is one more question.
Mhm.
Suppose I've entered some value and it turns red. What if it's like according to the formula, it should turn green? Like, so do I need to check it manually?
You
With the
should just
formula?
No,
fail the
because
test
it's a
case, right?
visual, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Whether it turn a red or green, that's all you have to worry about. You
No,
don't
I'm
have
saying
to.
if at the back end, the calculation part is going wrong, so there is
If
a
the
confusion.
calculation is wrong, you will not get the right color that what you expected.
Yes, so I have to that's what I'm asking. First, I have to calculate the value,
Yes,
then.
you do. You do have to calculate manual because then only you know whether, hey, it should turn red or it should.
Okay, okay,
One thing you can do is put the formula in the description if you want,
okay,
or put it in the verifications tab, what you have, if
Mhm.
that makes clear to you. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, but it's a verifications tab,
okay,
not the verification of the kind of like expected result. Okay.
okay.
Not the actual step. And I think other steps that you have, is that what you are testing?
So the
validate,
other steps, they are just like visual inspection, because
No,
once,
so, okay. So part of it is what is the thing that you're trying to test it? Are you trying to test whether the color turns red or not? Is that thing
just
you're
give me,
trying to test?
okay, just give me a second. Like once this field, once I enter the weight, this will turn red. Along with that, this print label is displayed, warranty ID is generated. So this is what the requirement they have mentioned.
Okay,
If
so
the
then
weight is out of tolerance, then that cartridge is eligible for the warranty and a user cannot change that manually.
okay, so let me ask you a question.
Okay,
Your test case says, hey, I'm going to test only whether it turns red or not.
okay. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
So if it turns red, but if the printer and warranty ID is not generated, is your test case fail or pass?
Okay, actually earlier I did two, like I did them separately, but then I thought, so these, the step 7, 8, 9, 10, so these are just the visual inspection. If, okay, I
Okay.
will see on the screen, so
So,
that's why I just added these here.
okay. So there are one of the two things you need to do it, right? If your test scope is only to see if it turns red or not,
Mhm.
then you should stop at step 6.
Okay,
If you're just saying is that, hey, if it turns red and I'm able to do this, this, and this, if that is your test case, then you keep all of the steps.
yeah. So my test case is validate weight field turns red and cartridge is eligible for the warranty. I'm validating both.
Again, when you say a cartridge is eligible for warranty, that's not what you're testing. What you're testing it is the warranty ID gets generated or not.
Okay.
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 So again, it's making sure the scope of the test that you're talking about in that test case is clearly identified.
Okay.
Because as long as you're done with that scope, then you should not worry about adding any more steps or any more validation after that.
Okay.
Or if you're doing all those validation, make sure your scope talks about all of that.
You mean to say my title should speak about
Yeah,
that?
the
Okay.
title should talk about it.
Okay. Okay.
And,
So
and the description as well, according to that. Yeah.
Okay. So this title doesn't say that I'm validating all of this.
It's not clear,
Okay.
right? So because you're talking about is validating the warranty eligible button is flashed and the warranty ID is generated also, right? So
Okay.
all you need to do it is, then you should do it is for warranty eligible item, make sure the weight field turns red and ID is generated. If you put
Okay.
that description, then it
Okay.
says, hey, I'm validating that something is warranty eligible.
Mhm.
And I'm validating the visual confirmation is going to be turning it at red and getting into the ID.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's matter of clarity, I think, but otherwise the thought process wise, I mean, we can see it. Yeah.
You're in the right track.
Yep. You are at the right track. So, yep. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
All right.
So
yeah, go ahead. Dilip.
it's almost 11. So what I would like it is spend as a team, right? So when I say it as a team, I do want you to share with each other and work collectively to update 2 test cases that takes the feedback that Herschel and I gave you and then complete that. And let's go back around noon and re-review those 2 test cases. So for
So-
each team, let's focus on writing 2 complete test case. And I would just say is go ahead and take the existing test cases that we talked and reviewed it here, fix it based on this recommendation that we have done it, and then let's re-review it.
Okay.
So I think we can pick a couple of test cases for them, Dilip. I think
Okay.
for so Havila, I mean you had one which we talked about correcting it, right?
Yeah.
So
So
work
I-
as a team. Work as a
Can I-
team.
Can I ask?
And yeah, go ahead.
So the cartridge detail. So before adding the new image, do I have to mention the manufacturer, category,
Yes.
color?
Yes,
Yes,
because you
do.
can't just go out and add an image
Yep.
without
Okay.
telling which cartridge you're adding to.
Okay. The other thing, I'm checking whether it's a black. The page is black, right? It's ready to add new image. So should I test adding an image, or till the blank page is blank? That's enough, isn't it?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
So I'm testing the page is blank. It's ready to add new image.
Okay.
So
Right.
do I have to test whether it can add a new image? No need, right? If the
No,
blank.
You
I mean,
have to. What is
that
your test case? Your test case is about adding a new image, right?
Yeah. So it
So
should
you
be
have
ready.
to test
The
it.
page should be ready, isn't it?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
not just page should not be ready. Is that not only you're testing? You're
Mhm.
testing it is that page is ready is just one of the steps, but
Yeah.
you need to add an image.
Add an image. Okay.
You have to put all those instructions of how you're gonna go
So
about adding
do I
the
have
image.
to add a link? Where do I get the image, or
That's your data.
Yeah.
add your data? Yeah,
You
add my
have to
data. Yeah.
identify where I'm gonna get the data from.
Okay.
So I think Dilip, I haven't seen any business process type of test case here. They talked
Yeah.
about other things. So maybe we can pick 2 per team here because there is a cartridge inventory module that has identical and all those things. So at
Mhm.
least one of them the team can work through. And
Yeah.
there is a warranty item, warranty eligibility. I haven't seen any test cases on that. So I think they need to work through that. One test case on the warranty eligibility as well. So ready to ship is the one I'm thinking
Okay.
for warranty eligibility. Okay.
All right. So
So
which
that's for
team
the
had
team
that
one. That's
function?
team one has it. I think Dimple and those folks.
Okay. So let's make sure then since you guys haven't written it, right? Let's
Yeah.
spend an next hour as a team.
Yep.
To write that specific test case, and we'll just review only that test case to make sure.
Yep.
You have all the steps done it. Now
Actually,
work
you-
collaboratively, right? So it should not be somebody wrote it and then you're just presenting it. What I want you to do is have a discussion and write it together so that you will learn.
So Dimple, your team needs to write ready to ship
Okay.
test case. Okay.
Okay.
The other team, team number for the Paurangi and Vaibhavi and those folks, pick the different test case from the cartridge inventory module. Sorry, pick the identical one.
Mhm.
Okay, and write on that. Plus write one more if you have time. Then pick work with on Hafila's test case and complete that. Okay, so that would be the second test case. And Dimple, you guys can pick one more test case, the smaller one,
Mhm.
once you are complete with the ready to ship.
Okay. The smaller
But-
one from which module?
Whichever module that you had.
So we have homepage, we have inventory, and we have warranty. So ready to ship is already from the
So
warranty.
pick one from the home. I think homepage. I think you already had it.
Yes.
Good one. I think. So I think that's. Otherwise, pick something from cartridge inventory.
Okay.
Maybe pick the same identical one. If you are done with the ready to ship,
Okay.
then pick the same
Identical.
as identical. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. But those 2 test cases, make sure you guys discuss it and work through it as a team, collaborative.
Okay.
And make sure
And-
you're ready by noon.
Yeah, 12 o'clock is kind of like a hard stop. Okay, and so we'll come back at 12 and work through that, review that. Ready to ship is your priority. and the other one is priority for the other team. Hafila's test case is the second one. If you have time, then work through that.
Okay.
Is everybody clear? Any question?
The logins.
What is that, Gipti?
I still don't understand the user login. How to?
But it's the login, right? I mean, users are created on the fly in the system and the role. So we talked about for any user that you create, they need to have access to specific module. So there is no super user or something like that, those type of roles here. It's just that user you create and they have access to specific module so that they can perform the activity or perform that function, like kind of like a receiving, right? So you can create a new user that has access to receiving module. That's all it is. There is no specific role that says super user has access to this module versus that module.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But other than that, I think hopefully is everybody clear what task you guys need to do. So discuss and work through that. Okay. I'm going to open up the rooms now.
All right. Thank you.
Right? So you read through it and says, hey, yes, there is two paths. One is for the warranty eligible records,
Mhm.
and then one is for non-warranty eligible records. What happens to non-warranty eligible records? This is available only for the one which is warranty, right?
Yeah.
What happens to the other one? You guys read the requirements. You tell me what happens if there is no warranty eligibility on a record. How do I process it?
Um,
Anybody in the class? Like it's right. Everybody read the requirements document. What happens to non-warranty eligible records?
So, Dilip, I think all the cartridges which are not eligible for the warranty. So this is so we have other buttons like warranty eligible, yes and no. And once we click on those, then for those one, there is a separate record at the back end. So all the warranty IDs with the associated cartridges, they're going into there with marked as a scrap.
Okay. So that's where you have to go into database, right? Do
Yes.
a SQL query and pull it up and says, did it record saved?
Yes.
The other way you can see it is if it disappeared from your inventory processing list.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
If you no longer have availability from a receiving, right? Because receiving is where you enter all of that. Going
Yes.
from a receiving to the other, then you just see it if it's visible or not. Okay. So that's where it's missing.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Okay. So let's go review other teams.
Okay.
Business processing test case. So Dimple, who from your team is sharing it?
Who wants to share?
You can go ahead, Dimple, if you have it. Did anybody created anything like on piece
Actually,
of paper?
I write on Azure and I shared
Okay.
my screen. I have access to that document.
Okay.
So why don't you
then,
pull it up
Yeah,
then?
just pull it up.
Yes, it's here.
Okay. So this is the
Ready
scope.
to ship button, right?
Yes.
It saves the information on page to the system, set the cartridge indicator ready to ship, and a cursor is at the warranty ID field. Okay.
Okay. So in the precondition, a user is created who has access to warranty processing unit.
Mhm.
And other user is created who has access to shipping to just verification part.
Okay. Or you can have the same user have access both to warranty and shipping.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
you're saying is cartridge ABC is eligible for the warranty with a warranty ID and exists in the system. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Let's
So
look at the
first,
steps.
yeah. So first open the browser
Mhm,
and then log in as a warranty user with user ID and password.
mhm.
And then on the step 4, like first click on 3 dots and select the warranty ID, which is mentioned in the precondition.
So you are selecting 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And then we have a, let me show you the module here, what we are doing.
Mm.
Yeah. So basically I'm taking the scenario, like we are
Mhm.
submitting all the information, all the required information.
Okay. So I select the warranty ID.
Yes, once
Then-
first, then we select the categories and the defects from here, and that will appear here.
Okay. Now, go back. Just a question for you, right?
Mhm.
How do you know what all the defects in the category will appear properly? Is it
Okay.
every in the systems or just only those associated with this type of cartridge?
I'm not sure about this one.
Okay. So one thing you need to, like it's kind of do is the list getting showed right one or not? Because then you have to select the data, right? Because
Okay.
you have to specify the data. So go back to your Azure test case, right? You can't just say select defect category from the list, right? You're
Yeah.
saying hopper problem is selected in defect 1. You need to make sure that those exist. And you have to put it as part of your precondition. You sure? What I said? Did we lose her?
Not sure.
Okay. So rest of the team, do you understand what I was saying in terms of what needs to be added to the precondition? Or shall it just you or me on the call?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I think everybody else is there. It just maybe Dimple is on mute, I think.
Yeah, Dimple is on mute.
Okay. Dimple, you there? You have to unmute your. Yeah, go into the Zoom. Go into the Zoom and.
Actually, my connection
Okay.
got disconnected.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right.
You're back now.
So I don't know if you get the part that I was talking or not, right?
No.
You once you select the cartridge, right?
Okay.
You need to make sure that the category and the defect that you're talking about exist in the system for those cartridges. So you need to
Okay.
put it as part of precondition, because then only it will show up and then you can select it, right?
Okay.
So
Okay. So in step 5, like first select a category, defects category, and then once click on one of the category, then associated defects will display under hopper problem, the next list. And then out of those, like we select defect 1, and that defect 1 will go into the current list.
Right.
Current, yes.
Yeah.
And then click on the ready to ship button.
And the notes field, this is a non-required field, so I skipped this one.
Okay, that's just fine.
So
So-
click on ready to ship button, verify if the information on the page is saved.
Okay, so think of
yes.
it. What should be the step? Action should not be trying to verify things there, right?
Okay,
The action should only be click on ready to ship the button.
okay.
Then your expected result is information is saved. But how do I know?
I have,
When you say it's run SQL
yeah.
query to verify, well, what
Yes.
SQL query you're talking about?
Okay.
Where should I look it to verify?
Okay, we have mentioned in step 8 and 9. Like,
yeah,
we
those
are-
are very,
Well, so
Yeah.
think of it, right?
Okay.
When I click on that ready to ship button,
Mm-hmm.
what all things needs to happen, right? First one, I need to make sure that the information is saved.
Mhm.
Second thing, I need to make sure that warranty ID and all the other fields are clear, right?
Yes.
So those should be part of my expected results, not as part of step number 8,
Okay.
because it happened when I click on that button. Now, what you needed is the first part, just like it in the previous test case we talked about. How do I know the information is saved successfully for ready to
Okay.
ship? Right. So show me the next steps, like it's after 9.
Yeah, so like this is again the part of this warranty verify cursor is in,
That should go as expected
yes,
results
yeah.
for
So in
the
the
step number
9,
7. Uh-huh.
Yeah, in the step 9. So first we log in as a warranty user and log out as a warranty user and then log
Mhm.
in as a shipping user.
Okay.
So then once log in as a shipping user, shipping page is displayed.
Okay.
And on the shipping page, from the shipping page, we are going to shipping detail page. And on that page, there is a list of the items which are ready to ship.
Okay.
So verify warranty ID mentioned in the precondition is displayed in the items to ship list. So in the expected warranty ID is displayed in the list, which indicates it is set as ready to ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you have that. So you don't need to part the run SQL query to verify.
Okay.
And then you need to collapse number 8 as expected results of 7.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think as you got the concept that, hey, I need to go somewhere else in the system to verify that information that I process has been saved successfully, it's unavailable.
Okay. And like in the step 7, so there are 3 things happening here. One is information is saved. Another is all the fields are clear.
Mhm.
And the other is the cartridge is marked as ready to ship. So to verify that, I'm doing the other steps. So
Right.
how, as you mentioned, after step 7, so all should be here. All the 3 fields, all the 3 expected
So
results should be
all
here.
the expected results should be there.
Okay.
And the next step is how are you going to validate? Because the 2 are visual,
Yes.
right? That
Yes.
things is cleared it up in that. What is
Mhm.
not visual to you is whether the record saved successfully or not.
Yes.
And for that, you're going into the shipping and
Okay.
making sure it is showing it up in the shipping manifest for the ready to ship.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
okay. So anybody, any team wrote additional thing? There was a, or you guys didn't have a chance to work through that?
So for our team, we did only this part.
Okay. What about team number 2?
Same.
Same.
We could
Same.
do this one
Okay.
thing.
All right. So as you guys can see, right? I mean, we can clearly see it. I mean, now you have improved from where we started earlier. And we can see clearly now it's going in the right direction for you guys. So what I would suggest is you guys keep working through at this one. You have the project, right? So you can write maybe a few more test cases and send to us as well, so that we can review it and provide you feedback from that standpoint. Dilip, you want to add anything on that?
Yeah. So only one thing which I would say is The more you will practice it, the more you will learn it. You have access to all those tools, right? You have access to the Azure, you have access to all the PDFs for that. What I would strongly recommend is keep writing the test cases. There is no reason why you can't just continue to work together as a team, right? Work with each other, review it, get each other's feedback. Feel free to send it email to me and Harshal when you have certain things which is ready and you want us to take a quick look and give the feedback. But the point that I want you guys to take it to the heart is that the only way you're going to keep learning is by keep practicing. You between the Rflown and this systems, you can still write tons and tons of test cases. Get it yourself comfortable to a point where if somebody gives a requirement, you know how to break it down, you know how to write those test cases, and you know how to communicate the information about the test cases to them. Okay.
Yep.
And one thing I would kind
go
of caution is, if you do not continue to practice, it will be struggle for you when you go for an interview to explain it, right? Because your knowledge will stay with you only so much unless you keep practicing it. It's like math, right? Once you know the multiplication table, unless you practice it for some more time till it becomes your muscle memory type of activity, you will not be succeeding.
Okay. So the second part, so this is about the project, right? So that's the first thing. Now, technically, I mean, our learning portion ends here today, but that doesn't mean that you can't reach out to us and for the test cases that you are writing and so forth. But I'm hoping that the exercise that we did over last 6 weeks, that gives you good understanding of the quality assurance process, as well as gives you some comfort level on writing the test cases, breaking down the test scenarios, and actually understanding the overall process from the documentation and the QA standpoint. And hopefully you guys understand what is involved in the QA role from day-to-day activities and what you will be working on at the client or for any project. Do you guys have any question on anything else before we dive into some other things that we want to cover from our standpoint? Okay, looks like nobody has any question. So what we want to talk about is the next steps, right? So as I said, I mean, you're going to continue working on the project and feel free to send to us and work through writing the test cases and so forth. But now as part of the next steps, right? So what I will do is we'll typically set up a one-on-one sessions, okay, with each team member. And those are individual sessions. And generally they are roughly about 30 minutes or so. The next step in the process is the resume building process. So that's something I will look for my email on that, and I will send out that email maybe end of the day to see when you can meet with us for resume building and so forth. So that would be the next step. There is one more thing. I'm gonna send you guys links to the couple of certifications. While we are going through the resume building process, I'd like you guys to see if you can clear out the certification side of things. Okay, so there is ISTQB and CAST And most of the students I have seen clearing out those tests in the first try with our camp material, but you might have to review their PDF material, which is kind of like since they tend to be theoretical in the exam, they tend to ask those theoretical questions. So you might have to read through their material, which is generally about 200 to 300 pages on that. But you should be able to clear the exam basically in the first try. So I'm gonna send you guys in the email details about that, and so that you can take a look at it. And when we meet for one-on-one session, and let me know, and we can help you how to get registered for that and how to go about prepping that and what you need to do, I guess, for those exams as well.
Yeah,
yeah,
in the context of those exams, one thing I would say, it's 70+% of the things we already covered it into our sessions. So as long as you've been practicing and understanding it, it's not going to be a challenging task for you guys, right? What Herschel was talking about, like it's getting into those guides and covering the remaining theoretical portion for 30% of the things.
Yep. And I think in the past, whatever in the previous batches, I mean, we have seen the students clearing in the first try, but it takes some preparation, maybe like 2 weeks, going through the reading and reviewing the material, camp material, plus their booklets. So 2 to 3 weeks you prep time for those type of exams. And I think that would be good enough, because the resume process itself will take 2 to 3 weeks itself from this standpoint. And before you guys, we set up a one-on-one session, right? I like to see what you guys have done in the past, whether it's IT or non-IT related. It doesn't really matter, but I like to see what you have done in the past. Okay, what's your education background, what work you have completed, because typically those type of background can help you basically for landing an interview as well. So it depends on what you have done in the past. We might say you want to leave it on the resume or not. So those type of discussions, we can do it on one-on-one. So I'd like to see your current resume, and then we'll go from how you can revise it so that you can target the quality assurance type of job. Okay, so that's the process we will work through over next couple of weeks. And I'll send out all these details in the email as well. Anything else, Dilip, you want to add on that part for the LinkedIn profile or anything?
Yeah, so just by raising your hand in the window, right? So if you look into all there is a reaction tab at the bottom. You just raise your hand if you know what LinkedIn is and how it can help you in the career. Okay, so looks like most of you have exposure to the LinkedIn. Okay, so just like you use Facebook as your social network, LinkedIn is a social network for all the professionals, right? So whenever you apply it, there is a very high chances that the recruiter will look at your resume, and then we'll also look at your LinkedIn profile to see what kind of work you have done it, what is your more or less kind of professional profile looks like. Okay, so once you build your resume, what I would like it's kind of what you guys want to think about it is your resume and your LinkedIn profile need to be more or less kind of synced in terms of talking things that you have done it. Now, LinkedIn is where you can provide a lot more detail. You can talk about the project, you can talk about the artifacts, the delivery you've done it, whatever volunteer work you have done it, versus on a resume, you can just keep it focused about the project and the experience, which is related into the field. So just make sure, and then there are ways you can it's kind of reach out to the people that you know in the professional world. You can just invite them and get connected to your network. So that's something you can do it. Also, pay close attention to the security feature. So typically what I like to do it is whenever I'm making update to my resume, and if I'm going to make it significant amount of changes, then I turn off the notification. So typically LinkedIn is set by default to send out notification to all of your contacts of, hey, there's something has changed in your profile, that so that they are aware of what happened.